Hi everyone, Jen with the Little Craft Corner, and with Christmas just around the corner, I thought it would be fun for me to show you how to use Altenew stamp set Lovely Ornaments. This is the card that we will be making today, and I'll show you step by step. Begin by using the base layer of the stamp set with a light color ink. I am using Rouge for this example. You also want to use a stamp positioner as there are many layers within this stamp set. So when all was said and done, I did 3 with sea glass and 3 with Rouge. And now the fun begins because we have all of these different layers that we can add to make our own custom ornaments. And we're going to go through each one of them because they do need a little bit of instruction. The first stamp that I'm going to delve into is this full coverage leaf one. This is one of my most favorites because you can actually use it as a whole stamp, or you can then cut out even smaller circles to create smaller size ornaments. So when you look at it closely, it's not a perfect circle. There is this jagged edge on the one side, a little cutout up the top, and more jagged on the side. But if you think of it as the hands of the clock, and I did cut one out to preview it for you. If you take the jagged edge and put it around the 1 o'clock section and the cutout over here at about, say, the 9 o'clock, a little bit past that, and the other little jagged section at 7, that will give you the perfect position to have an even, clean stamp. When you put this image down over the circle, you know you're going to be correct because you're going to have that one jagged edge up by the 1 o'clock section of the clock, and all of your edges are going to be neatly around the circle with no white showing through. The stamp is designed to neatly fit right over the circle, and you'll have the jagged edge at the 1, and you'll have another cutout right around the 7, and then your third little cutout will be about the 10 o'clock number at the clock. I chose Ocean Waves to make the second layer in the Lovely Ornament, and it really was a nice contrast, and you do want to give it about 2 inkings to have a nice solid layer. The next image I'm going to show you is down here, and it reminds me of a constellation in the sky. And it has a very irregular shape. I don't know if you can see it, but it really is maybe confusing at the beginning, but we're going to help you get this started. So how this works is that you're going to take, this is basically a half moon, and one of the halves is going to go on this side, and then we're going to turn it around and we're going to put it on this side. And what you want to do is line up, I'll get my little poker here. You want to line up this little dot and this little dot, and the bottoms here and the tops here, so that they are just hugging or just touching the very edge of your circle. So that's how you know you're in the right position. I'm using Shadow Creek ink, and when the stamp is done correctly, it will give you this impression, and that is one side. When you turn the stamp on the opposite side, you're going to have the tips of the half moon kind of pointing at the top of the edge of your circular ornament, and you're going to have the exactly extended dots touching the edge of the outside rim of the circle. These images are symmetrical of one another, so when all is said and done, your image will look like this. On the stamp set, you will see that the stamp that is next to, I call it the constellation, is meant to pair with this stamp. When you're putting the mate to the constellation stamp, you know you have it correct. The first thing you want to do is look at the center piece. This cluster of leaves down here should be right at the bottom where the empty space is. And if you drew an imaginary line, you knew that you're going straight up. These leaves are going to hug the lines. So that's how you know that you're correct. I'm using dusk ink for this example, and I left this here on purpose because I actually made a mistake when I was demonstrating how to do this. And I left it here to show you that I was a little bit too far to the right. So that's why I wanted to kind of give you the comparison. You know you're correct when the bottom leaf is directly in line with the center piece and it's going to go straight up. Don't use the line as a gate. The line is going to go to the right of your leaf cluster, not through, but to the right. So here I am finishing up this ornament, and then the next layer is going to be this little horizontal piece of florals, and it just really finishes up the ornament nicely. And I am using Desert Night for the color of this ornament. In this next example, I'm going to show you how to use these two stamps that pair beautifully. One is full of swirls, and then the bottom layer just simply says joy to the world. And when put together, they just hug the circle with very little guesswork involved. So in this example, I used Desert Night and Dusk, but you can use whatever colors you like. They can be contrasting or monochromatic. As we move along in our images, we're coming up to what I call the watermelon stamp. When it's on its edge, doesn't it look like a watermelon? Any event, this is really similar to the image that I called the constellation stamp. You just line up the dots on the outer edges, repeat on either side, and you're ready to go. The last stamp that I'm going to show you is the easiest one. It really just matches up with the circle edges perfectly and gives this sort of melting snow look on the ornament. I really love all of the varieties that this stamp set has to offer. So we did not go over all of the sentiments that you can use, but you can use any of these in place of the line of flowers that we did in our previous example. So for example, instead of using the florals, I did the same sort of thing, although I did omit the green lines, made it a little simpler, and added season's greetings. So here is where I took this card as my own creativity. This set does come with its own matching die cuts, but I thought, well, I like ornaments to be of different shapes and sizes, and I used Altenew's Halftone Circle die set to create larger circles, medium, and small ornament sizes. Once all of your ornaments are die cut, you get all of these really cute designs. Aren't they fun? And where my imagination was going is I wanted a slimline card with a cascading look of the ornaments coming down. And what I did was I took Altenew's Antique Gold, and where I was going to place the ornament, I would just singly stamp the little holder that holds on the ball. And then as I was coming up the card, I would put the ball down, put the little stamp down, come up with the next ornament, align it, and add the next little ornament holder with the gold ink. And I would continue this on up to the card until I was finished. All right, we're going to take a step back, and now you can really see how my brain is thinking. I felt like there was just too much white space on the card, so I pulled out one of the Dottie stencils, and in that color family we were using, I pulled out the sea glass and just added a light shading of some dots to go lightly over the card. Your stencil placement doesn't have to be perfect, so don't waste too much time on this. You just want to put your stencil down and give it a light ink blending on top of your card. Okay, let's even stretch our creativity a little bit more. I'm sure you all have a small hole punch lying somewhere around your home, so go get it and punch a little teeny hole inside the ornament holder. And then what we'll be doing is getting gold embossing thread and creating a loop for the ornament. Once your holes are punched, turn your card over and grab your embroidery thread, and you're going to cut off a small section and loop it through the back section of the card. When you pull it through the front, you'll have a small little loop that will resemble a string that you normally hang an ornament on a tree. To keep the embroidery thread in place, I used a glue dot that is very flat and that will add no bulk to my card, and I simply just adhered it to the back. I am using a slimline card for this example, and my slimline card happens to be 3.5 across, or which is 7 inches in total across by 8 inches down. Those are the measurements that I am using, and then I cut this down to fit neatly inside. I took 1/4 inch off each side to fit into my panel. And I love a little bit of inking on all of my edges. I think it gives it a nice crisp look, a finishing touch, would you say? You can certainly add any color you want, any bright cardstock you have that complements the colors that you chose for your ornaments. Maybe you didn't choose these colors and, maybe you went a little bit more traditional. I would love to see what you did on your card. And the glue dots do give me some bit of adhesiveness, but I needed to get a little bit more. So we're going to tack this down and get our card fully assembled. I kind of like to start at the top, knowing that is my guideline, and then everything else seems to just sit into place. So there we have it, a nice, quick, simple Christmas card, holiday card that I hope you enjoyed making. And thank you so much for tuning into my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.